First of all, thank you for joining us. We're going to have highlights of our one-year project, which started a year ago, in March 2021. And the focus is being on community climate action for high-rise communities, starting with St. Jamestown.
One of the amazing, unique things about St. Jamestown is the towers and the high-rises, and there isn't anywhere else in all of Canada that has a grouping like this.
We really need to start transforming how we go about these challenges. So if it's a climate change piece for here in St. James, it's about well-being, it's about livelihoods. And the co-benefits of doing that right can lead to all kinds of climate positive outcomes.
So really to connect with, everything that you're going to hear today, I do want to just bring attention to the fact that ambassadors in our community can have really huge impact on so many levels.
When we talk about climate action, that is greenhouse gas reduction, that is food security projects, that is health projects for people in the area. It's talking about green jobs and skills development to take advantage of that.
So we want to improve health and food security, obviously, but also to create sustainable jobs and social enterprise opportunities for the many talented and experienced people in the neighborhood.
We're in a housing crisis. There was a period in time in which we built an extraordinary amount of it, and we have to hold on to it, ensure that it has another 100 years, that it's the best place to live as possible, and think, how can we build more? That's the real challenge ahead of us.
As we all know, St. Jamestown is the largest high-rise community and the most densely populated neighborhood in Canada. It is also a high turnover community where newcomers to Canada make up a large portion of the population.
Leadership is a team sport. It requires trust, instinct, and good communication. And on the ground, in your office, in a client meeting, remember that leadership is more than knowing the facts of your presentation. It's about connecting with your team and your audience.
I realized how many good ideas I can bring here. And even though I come from a developing country, there are many challenges, situations that can also overcome here, like in communities that are underserved as well here in Canada, or Indigenous people as well. So I started to motivate myself, and I can catch, and I sparked my attention when I heard Darla, when she said, it's part to motivate ourselves and our team, to continue and to achieve our goals.
I've worked for a long time as a consultant in the green building space to consult clients on how to reduce their carbon emissions and energy usage and how to save money running their buildings. I went into that field because I care about the environment and I wanted to make an impact. And at that time, I learned 40% of the global emissions come from buildings. And I thought, wow, that's a place I can really make a dent.
I built a business for solar powering batteries just because, as I mentioned, I grew up where there was no electricity. So I really wanted to provide those communities that were remote a way to do that.
I really have a kind of a vision of people, all the talented people in St. Jamestown who want to move ahead to start getting together and talking about what their ideas are and what their aspirations are and learning from each other.
Yes, the climate is changing. And what makes the climate change so significant is not the frequency and severity of extreme weather events. We've had extreme weather events for a long, long time. It's the fact that the pace of change is faster than ecosystems can adapt.
In general, the way to think about this is that 30 degrees C days in general in the past, we've averaged somewhere between 10 to 20 of those per year. 80 days a year, it represents essentially the entire summer worth of temperature over 30 degrees.
A role and purpose of this project is to understand impact so that we can translate this to what needs to be done at the building level, because different people are responsible for different parts of this challenge, and not everything should be left to the community to fend for themselves.
And one of the things that I'm struck by as I work with clients is they are unable to articulate to me what their preferable future looks like. And what is your preferable future look like? And if you can't define it and articulate what that means, how on earth would you know if you got there?
any one of us or all of us together recycling isn't going to save the planet. But if all of us do that and it becomes part of how we see ourselves as citizens of the planet, and if we do other things like buy electric vehicles or whatever options are available to us, it shifts who we are in our consciousness. And as our consciousness shifts, we become more prepared for a future that is a different future. And I think that may be the best thing we can do as individuals.
So what we are proposing is a community-based project that connects the residents and the stakeholders using emergency preparedness hubs. So in this project, we will create physical meetup spaces, give access to information in different languages, strategize, plan, and in the case of actual emergency, provide shelter and supplies to those in need.
The problem with the buildings in the St. James Town is that they cannot meet the needs of our future climate. The buildings were built in 1970s. Their building envelope and windows have low insulation level. The heating, the water, and the electrical system are aging, and only the minimum level of maintenance is provided to keep them operational.
The focus of my project is to research and promote accessible, affordable, and locally grown food for the St. James Town community, which is powered by knowledge and partnership. So this is a collaborative research study followed with implementation strategy by bringing together a diverse group of consumers, farmers, retailers, and health ecosystem stakeholders for providing food security and a healthy lifestyle.
I think St. James Town needs support from its political elected leaders to amplify the fact that we are facing a food emergency. We are facing a long winter of increased food costs.
Climate change is actually an opportunity to innovate, an opportunity to organize and reorganize, an opportunity to look at new technologies that may be applied to other markets and other opportunities. But also, I think the key here is really, how do we engage the public, the private, and the community at every level here?
We will be addressing poverty. We would be addressing hunger, good health and well-being, decent work and economic growth, reducing inequalities, and definitely merging, there's a difference between diversity and inclusion, and as well partnerships for these goals.
People working on the projects like these ones for St. Jamestown, getting that meeting going and engaging with that public official one-on-one is exciting and it's important, but it should be seen as one piece of a much broader strategy that they need to implement in order to see the kinds of changes that they want to see.
But finding that good story, that narrative, that way in which you can impact somebody emotionally, that at a reception circuit or an event, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, a year down the road, they'll remember that because you made them feel.
What I tell my clients, be honest with yourself. What do you really want to achieve here, and what can you achieve here?
Organizing within your community is incredibly powerful, and it is that pressure that helps move all 25 counselors across.
Climate is very important within the system to solve, and within solving climate, real estate has a really big role to play. Communities like St. Jamestown and these buildings are really, really important.
On the one hand, we really need governments and communities to plan energy systems based on heat pumps and local renewable energy sources, or enable our local use of heat pumps.
However, it doesn't mean there aren't solutions, as we've heard today. And locally, I think in terms of St. Jamestown, it really means about how do you adapt and mitigate so that the built environment can be safe and secure in the face of climate-related disturbances.
We all have a finite amount of energy, time, and definitely money. And so you really want to make sure you're thinking hard about what message or need you need, and then ranking the priority of how you're going to tackle each of your areas.
Is that if you're applying for a seed grant, don't apply for everything. Start by taking a piece of your project, call it phase 1, and apply for that. And so after you get that and you achieve it, next you can go to phase 2. And by going in multiple phases, you can usually accomplish quite a bit over the long term. And the same funder will fund the same project again, because it's a different phase of a broad approach.
Like a big thing for nonprofits is getting funding. And I think this event was super important to make ideas into a reality.
I think climate change should not be partisan. It's something that really we're fighting for our human existence. So that to me is not partisanship. It's about, human survival at the end of the day.
The youth of St. Jamestown are what makes me hopeful right now. We're through this project, we've done some work with youth and climate change, and they're excited and they're aware, and they're action biased.
We gave them hope that they can do something, that they do have the power and the means, and we help them provide some of those tools and strategies.
I'm really pleased to be able to celebrate with you today the success of your project, the Community Climate Action St. Jamestown. Because of this project, St. Jamestown is now becoming one of the best prepared high-rise communities in Toronto and one of the most informed on climate action. So I'm always inspired when I see climate awareness transitioning into local action, and I can see that with this project.
But I think one of the takeaways about possibilities is you never know where you're going to end up until you start. And I think that's a really important concept here for St. Jamestown and the work that RSI is doing as well with the project, because you have to start somewhere.
And I am optimistic that these projects are going to hit the ground running and are going to make amazing change in St. Jamestown. So thank you, congratulations, and a huge round of applause for our mentors and our team leaders. Thank you.